Hey, what is up YouTube? This is Haidar, and today I want to talk to you about the power of compound interest and why it's extremely important. So what is compounded interest? Well, from simplicity point of stance, you have a simple interest and you have compounded interest. You want to think of a compounded interest of being the interest of the interest. Meaning, for example, if you have a $10 and you made 10% in 1 year, in APR, 10% is equal to $1. So you made $1 that first year. Now, let's assumingly the simple interest tells you that you take that $1 off, you have the $10. So if you do 10% at year 2, you still get a $1. However, compounded interest means it's an interest on top of the interest. Meaning if you have the $10 and you get 10% of it the first year, well, you get $1, which is 11, but the next year you are going to get 10% of that $11. So you're going to get 10% of the $11, which is equal to 11.1, right? So now, yes, it does not seem a lot because it's only 10 cents, but in a bigger scale level, it's going to make dramatic difference. And I'll give you an example. See, that $10, if you take it and you just don't put anything on it, and you just let it compound with 6% interest rate over the years, and on a 30 years mark, that $10 will be $57.42. Okay? $57.42. That is insanely huge. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what does that mean. So if you go and get a Starbucks coffee today for $5, in 30 years, just because of compounded interest, the Starbucks would be worth $143.57. Again, $143.57, just the $5 that you spent today on a cup of coffee. If you don't find this insane, just to blow up your mind, now let's say somebody gets a car for $30,000. Let's say you have a $30,000 that you're willing, I know not all of us have $30,000 in the bank sitting, but if you're willing to finance a car for $30,000, exclude all the interest that you're paying. So let's assume you're just gonna, the bank is nice enough to loan you the car for zero interest, which is never gonna happen, by the way, but let's just do the simplicity. Make the math simple. The $30,000 on a compounded interest, if you would pay yourself, instead of saying, let's say, hey, this car is $30,000, it's going to cost me about $600 a month, plus insurance, plus gas, plus depreciation. So after that, it's probably going to be around $800. I'm going to pay myself $800 a month, and I'm going to put it into an interest that it's going to be generating for me a compounded interest over the years. Here's how much you will get in 30 years at a 6% interest rate. You ready for it? $172,304. It's mind-blowing, and it's not you getting any allocation funds, right? You're not really spending more. So over in that 30 years, if you're doing that $800 reward paying yourself for not having that car a month, it's going to exponentially be a lot higher than that. Just assuming $30,000 just compounded over the next 30 years for 6% interest every year. Now, in order for you to make it happen, there's the 3 rules that I follow, and you should follow as well when it comes to investing your money. You invest it as soon as you can, as consistent as you can, and as long as you can. And this is extremely important because a lot of us are just too afraid to invest money because we're afraid of losing it. But if you look at the data and historical figures, the last 50 years, it's always been going up, higher than we ever used to be. Yes, we have corrections. Yes, we have depressions that happened. And we have recessions that happened. But overall, the economy has grown a lot more than what it normally would have. So technically speaking, you have higher likelihood of you making more money than losing money. It's just the idea of investing is not familiarized to us because most of us are not taught when we were little kids how to invest or in school. So the comfort level is very restraining. But if you really think about it, I mean, what is $100? You can spend $100 in a weekend if you're not really careful, right? So instead of you spending the money on stuff that's going to devalue itself, why not just invest it? Also, avoid having to time the market. If you're really not into investing in passive income and stocks and bonds and real estate and all that fun stuff, don't time the market, because timing the market, it's something that it's a risk taking, because yes, there are signals that you should be anticipating and understanding, like we are projected to be hitting a recession in 2020. Of course, nobody knows, but if you don't have the education level, don't be like the people that used to be back in the day, be like, oh my God, S&P 500 is like $50, it's too expensive, let's wait for it to go down. And now it's like $2,500, right? Or more. So don't be like these people, right, that wanted to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. The S&P is almost $3,000. As we're talking today, it's at $2,966. So don't be like the ones before you, the ones that always wanted to time it and say it's too expensive. Because ideally what you want to do is buy an asset, hold it, and then for a long time till you retire. So what does it take to actually do this? I'm not saying this is actually easy. It is really not, because it requires a lot of self-discipline that it can get very hard, but nothing is impossible as long as you work on it and take the time to achieve it, right? It's only a step-by-step process. Let me tell you something. Right now, I have a really average car and I can afford it to be in a higher car, and I'm a big car fan. And I'm having my eye on a Q60 right now, but I keep telling myself not now, later, because ultimately I want to get a Ferrari, and I won't be able to get a Ferrari unless if I do the sacrifices that need to be to live comfortably and afford the Ferrari comfortably, right? Can I go buy a Ferrari tomorrow? Yes, sure, I can do that. I can just lease it because I will never use my cash to buy a Ferrari, but would that restrain me? Absolutely. It would make it very tight for my budget to get that car. So you have to make sacrifices, and sacrifices are not easy necessarily, but I will try to share with you what things that help me personally that might help you as well. So number one thing, don't chase after materialistic stuff. 99% of the things that we buy on a daily basis are going to depreciate in value. Cars are the worst investment you can ever make. I can't even tell how people don't understand this, and it drives me insane. If you're going to buy a car, a nice car, do understand that it's going to depreciate. Not only that, but you're going to spend money on paying interest. You're going to take your cash flow every month. You're going to be paying for insurance. You're going to be paying for gas. You're going to be paying for service. Okay? So it's going to really eat your net worth a lot more. Another thing too, electronics. If you're the type of person that continues on buying cell phone every year on upgrading, why are you doing this? Really, the technology initiated in that iPhone or Samsung, you're probably not going to use 50% of it, okay, because it's so advanced that an average Joe doesn't really know how to use it. Okay, so do me a favor, do not chase after that, because the minute you go the next year and the other model comes in, it depreciates significantly. You always lose money, right? Don't go after materialistic stuff. Diamonds have absolutely no value, and to be honest with you, it's probably the biggest scam, with all the respect to everybody that has diamonds or own diamonds, the history I've ever known, because diamonds in general does not have any they're not a useful material, not like gold or silver or copper. They cannot be formed into a useful manner, so they are actually useless. But it's because of marketing and how wedding and how shiny and how bright it is and it's nice that makes it look like it's valuable, but in all seriousness, it's not. Clothes and all that stuff. So the easiest way to differentiate between that, just ask yourself what you need versus what you want, and it is a huge difference in that. I think a lot of people don't get the majority what that means, and they always put it all together. I'll give you an example. You need water to survive. You don't need soda, right? You need coffee for energy. Sure. You don't need Starbucks. You need clothing. Sure, absolutely. You don't need a Gucci t-shirt, okay? So understand what you need versus you want. There's a big difference. When you want or want to have, that doesn't necessarily mean that you must have it or you need it or you would not survive if you don't have it. Okay, so just segregate that to you because that'll help you save a lot of money in the long term. Another thing too I will share with you is reducing my expenses. And the only way I've done that is by lining up what my expenses monthly are and seeing what are the variable costs and the fixed costs. The fixed costs are some things that you have to pay, like rent, gas, insurance, food, water, the absolute necessity stuff, electricity, all that stuff. The variable cost is me going to the movies or traveling or going on shopping spree or anything like that. These are variable costs. You can control Netflix or the gym membership, all that fun stuff, right? So yes, Haidar, wait a second. Are you telling me to cut all myself out of all of that? That's not life. No, I'm not telling you to do that, but I am telling you need to know what your budget is and how much money are you spending outside of your pocket on these type of things. Because let's say you're making $1,000 every 2 weeks. You're spending $500 or $600 in shopping. That's pretty bad, right? That's more than 50% of what your income is, and that's horrible for your money because you always lose on value. So what you should do is set a budget every month for your entertainment, whether you want to travel, whether you want to go shopping. Set a specific budget and then save the rest, right? That will help you, give you that kind of foundation within that fund account that you don't exceed, because you know this is what you have as a limit. Okay, the worst thing that happens is people continue on spending and spending and spending, and then now the bills are coming and they're like, oh my god, I don't have money to actually pay for it. Now a lot of people mix these things together and they have absolutely no idea, but once you have all these funds as a limit, so what they do is they go and take a loan out or go on a credit card and pay the bills with that. And then what happens is the next month they're going to have to pay the credit card back or the loan back with interest. And now they have less money than when they started with. All that could have been avoided if you are setting budget and know what your expenses are and taking control of that. Now, I'm not saying that it's extremely easy to do, but it's not impossible. I used to spend a lot of money on stupid stuff that didn't matter in life, and I stopped doing that because I realized the only thing I'm doing to myself, I'm hurting myself, my growth for the long term. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this series. If you have any particular question or specific questions, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to tackle a specific topic, also let me know. And I hope you guys like this video. If you do, hit that like button so you can help me out. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.